Hey guys, what is up? It is the Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys a little bit of a different video today. I haven't done one of these in a very long time, but I wanted to do one because obviously this is that time of year where we start thinking of trades. We got guys on our team that may not stay, which will probably be for a different video. I'm under the impression that like Miles Turner, for example, for the Pacers, will probably return to the team. I just don't see him leaving when we just traded for Pascal Siakam. I just kind of don't see that happening, but you never know. Stranger things have happened. There's really only two players in the league that I really think we could actually realistically trade for that makes sense for both teams if he says no. So we'll go over that when we get closer to that juncture, when we cross that road or that bridge. But for now, I want to talk about one trade at the deadline that I think could really help the Indiana Pacers. And it's great because the two guys that I want to trade for are guys that I think could immediately make our team better. And they both come from the same team. It also comes from a team that is rumored to be selling fucking everybody. So I want to go ahead and talk about the trade first, and then we'll look at the numbers and why I feel like this trade would help a lot. It's been a long time since I've done this, but the team we're going to be talking about is the Brooklyn Nets. And obviously we're going to be going to the Indiana Pacers here. But in case you guys don't know, there's a lot of rumors going around the NBA right now that the Nets really want Cooper Flagg. They would not have traded Mikal Bridges for the package that they did if they weren't somewhat considering selling. Ben Simmons is on the final year of his absolutely ridiculous contract extension he got in Philly. Odds are he will not be back. I'm assuming he's a guy they're going to let walk into free agency. And they did just re-sign Nick Claxton. Nick Claxton's a guy they clearly like, even though he is a guy they're willing to trade. This is a team that is actively trying to tank. Like, Bojan Bogdanovic hasn't played. Cameron Johnson's playing out of his mind. He's a guy that, like, right now makes a lot of sense for them to trade. And there are a lot of Pacers fans who would like us to trade for Cameron Johnson, but I just don't think that's where the winning play is at the current point in time. I understand why fans want Cameron Johnson, but I feel like the biggest issues for the Pacers are defense, right, and three-point shooting, and rebounding, right? We need to somehow try to shore up all of these things. We have to try to shore up rebounding. We have to try to just, like, try to kill a bunch of birds with a couple stones. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're in that period where how we maneuver the trade deadline could determine if Miles Turner comes back or not. Right? Because he's going to become an unrestricted free agent regardless at the end of the season. So we have to try to put a roster together that's going to at least convince him to stay. Even though I don't like Miles Turner as a player for our team, he's a guy that a lot of teams really want. There's a team out there that I think will be willing to pay him more money than us. But we have to kind of try to play on the idea that he enjoys being in Indy and he wants to play with Pascal Siakam. We have to kind of try and hope that he cares more about that than money. So let's go ahead and get to the trade. So the trade is going to be Obi Toppin and Isaiah Jackson. I know I want to explain this because a lot of people think you can't trade injured players. Yes, you absolutely can. In the NBA, you can trade injured players. It's just in NBA 2K you can't. Okay, like I know that that's a big misconception. Yes, you can trade injured players. And Obi Toppin, as much as I like Obi Toppin, I think he fits our scheme a lot. He's a traffic cone on defense. He is horrible on defense. As much as I like Obi Toppin, I think he adds a lot of flair to what the Pacers do. It's obvious teams have figured out what we do. That's what has become very apparent about this season, is that we went from being the best offense in the history of the league to now we really struggle. Teams are picking Tyrese Halliburton up full court. They're matching our tempo. Like, teams are playing faster to try and make it so we're like us and Milwaukee as well. was a team last year that, like, we had the 2 fastest paces in the NBA last year, and teams realized that, like, you know, the Pacers are kind of running us out the gym, and so are Milwaukee. And teams have realized, I guess, over the offseason that, like, we need to do a lot of conditioning. We need to be able to get out and run. And it just, the offense isn't coming as well this year as it did last year. So we have Isaiah Jackson and Obi Toppin. I know there's going to be people who like Isaiah Jackson. I think he's okay. I don't think he's great. I feel like he's beloved by a lot of people, but I don't really think he's super great. He was really good for us in the playoffs last year, but he's not a guy that I think is a part of our future, or I just don't think he fills enough of what we need. So it would be Isaiah Jackson and Obi Toppin for Dorian Finney-Smith and Day'Ron Sharpe. And this trade actually works. It's just Obi Toppin can't be traded until after December 15th, literally like 2 weeks from now. And I like this trade because DFS and Day'Ron Sharpe's on-off numbers are fucking ridiculous. They are insane. Okay, defensively, and Dorian Finney-Smith still has it from 3. The reason I like Dorian Finney-Smith over Obi Toppin is, yes, even though Dorian Finney-Smith is older than Obi Toppin, he's got 2 years left on his deal. Dorian Finney-Smith is still a very good defender. The on-off numbers support it. And he's also a 42% three-point shooter. Obi Toppin right now is not shooting well from 3. Obviously, he could be just going through a bit of a slump. But if we go look at Basketball Reference, and we go to Indiana, and we go down to Obi Toppin right now is shooting 32% from 3. But the reason I think Brooklyn would do this is because Obi Toppin is a young guy. He's 6'9". He weighs 220 pounds. He's a guy that they can maybe teach defense to. We're not even trying to teach defense, okay? Like, yeah, maybe to our young guys we are, but Obi Toppin defensively just, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if he's never asked to play defense, but he is horrendous on defense. And we need to get better at defense, and, like, at that position specifically, we need to have a guy who can play defense and shoot threes, okay? Now, while Dorian Finney-Smith may not be the rebounder that Obi Toppin is, Dorian Finney-Smith provides in every other category. He's a great on-ball defender. He shoots the 3. If he's open, he usually can knock it down. The guy is a really, really good corner three-point shooter, shooting 42% from 3 this year, okay? Next is Day'Ron Sharpe, and Day'Ron Sharpe, I think, is what makes this entire trade. We need a center, okay? Isaiah Jackson is injured, which helps the Brooklyn Nets with their tanking thing for Cooper Flagg. That's the other thing about this. These 2 guys contribute a lot to how good the Brooklyn Nets are. Dorian Finney-Smith's on-off numbers are fucking ridiculous, and Day'Ron Sharpe, even though he's only played 2 games, his on-off numbers are ridiculous in those 2 games, but also if you look at the 63 games that he played last year for the Nets, his on-off numbers are still really, really ridiculous. This is a guy who provides, like, Mark Williams level defense, but for the Nets, when he actually plays. And if you don't believe me, Day'Ron Sharpe's per 100 possession numbers, his per 36 minute numbers are fucking ridiculous, okay? He's 23 years old, he's a rolling cut big, and if we go look at Day'Ron Sharpe, right? And we go to last season, right? Actually, we're not even going to do that. Let's just go look at his on-off numbers, okay, for last season. And we go to opponent points per game, right? Opponent points or opponent's offensive ratings. With him on the court, teams went from an offensive rating of 118 to 111. They are a plus 4.5 with him on, okay, when he plays. Like, he is plus 4.5 better with him on the court. Like, they lock shit down. I mean, they got a higher steal percentage, okay? Yeah, the turnovers go up a little bit, but even their offensive rating goes up from 116 to 112. I think this is the best sample size we have of Day'Ron Sharpe, but, like, blocks percentage goes up, steals percentage goes up, the total rebounding percentage goes down, but that's because I just think Nick Claxton's just a better rebounder. But it's just the idea. Day'Ron Sharpe is a guy that could really, really fix our future center problem. Day'Ron Sharpe's a guy that I look at and I go, why are we screwing around with guys like, Isaiah Jackson and James Wiseman? Like, why are we taking swings on these guys when we could just trade for a guy like Day'Ron Sharpe, who, if you look at his, like, per 36 numbers, right? Like, for last season, right? If we go to his per 36 numbers for last season, this is a guy who averages 16 points and 15 rebounds for per 36 numbers. Per 100 possessions, this is a guy 22 points and 20 rebounds in 61 games. Offensive rating of 120, defensive rating of 112. I mean, Day'Ron Sharpe is a guy that I think could be the future center somewhere. It's just, I don't know where. He's also only 23 years old. He's significantly younger than Miles Turner. And I understand right now we're kind of like playing around with Moses Brown, and Isaiah Jackson's done for the season. James Wiseman's done for the season. But the Nets are looking to tank. You know what I'm saying? And these are two guys that are net positives for them. That's not good for them. And honestly, turning Dorian Finney-Smith into Obi Toppin is not the end of the world. Obi Toppin's is probably the best bench power forward in the league. So when you think about it, it's like, yeah, you're giving me Day'Ron Sharpe and you're giving me Dorian Finney-Smith, but you're getting Isaiah Jackson, who's still 22 years old. He's a young guy. They could mold him into whatever they want him to be, a rolling cut big. He's the same thing as Day'Ron Sharpe, just Day'Ron Sharpe is a little more fundamentally sound than Isaiah Jackson is. And also, Dorian Finney-Smith provides the defense, right? Where right now, like I said, at the current point in time, the Nets are trying to lose. And being the idea that Obi Toppin provides everything that Dorian Finney-Smith provides, only Dorian Finney-Smith is a way better shooter and a way better defender. I just think it makes sense for both teams in a sense. And if you're the Nets, you've been looking to get younger anyway. Dorian Finney-Smith's a guy you're holding on to, and the longer you hold on to him, the less you're going to get. But also, the other thing I want to show here is because a lot of people seem to think that, like, Dorian Finney-Smith has lost it. Like, Dorian Finney-Smith is not the same player. If we go to Dorian Finney-Smith and look at his on-off numbers, okay, for this season, in the 15 games that he's played, in his on-off numbers, dude has an on-off net positive of plus 15.8. With him off look how bad they are, the difference. Look how bad they are with him off the court. They are 10, their offensive rating goes down 10.5. With him on the court, it goes up 5.5. When you look at opponent points per game, right, offensive rating for opponents, it goes from 119 to 115. When you add these two guys to what the Pacers do, right, when you consider Day'Ron Sharpe and Dorian Finney-Smith, if you can trade for both of them and put them on this roster, being that it seems like we're also going a little bit more half-court this year since the get out and run shit is not working. It worked pretty well against Chicago with the whole, screen and roll thing. We're seeing everything that I've been talking about the Pacers are finally doing. You know what I'm saying? The screen and rolls with Pascal Siakam, the floaters with Tyrese Halliburton. If you can do that screen and roll and somehow keep Miles Turner around, and you have Dorian Finney-Smith and you have Day'Ron Sharpe, and you can keep James Wiseman, that's fine. But if you can put a roster like that together, and this is the only trade you have to make, I think this helps this team significantly. And then when you consider the idea that you still have Aaron Nesmith, right? You still have Andrew Nembhard. You still have Siakam. You still have Halliburton. You still have Miles, right? This is a team that suddenly goes from a team that's really not that great to a team that could be really good. Day'Ron Sharpe is actually a really, really good rebounder. Like, he's a guy that I think, obviously you're going to play him with the bench unit, but, like, he's a guy that you can play with the starters, and he'll be relatively good. He's also a guy that can catch a lob. And the reason I like Day'Ron Sharpe so much is because the Nets have been pretty good at drafting centers. They got Nick Claxton, they drafted Jared Allen, they drafted Brook Lopez, and now Day'Ron Sharpe's a guy that just kind of sits on their bench because he's been injured for most of the start of this season. He's played 2 games, but also in the 2 games that he played, one of them was against Indiana. And there was a couple times where I was like, Day'Ron Sharpe was out on the wing defending. And I'm like, if Day'Ron Sharpe is going to do that as well and just be a good switch defender as well, why wouldn't you trade for him? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a guy who can somewhat defend on the perimeter and defend in the paint. You know, that's what makes Mark Williams so valuable to the Hornets. It's like, even if Mark Williams can't defend the three-point shot, he gets out there far enough to make it so he can contest mid-range jumpers. And Day'Ron Sharpe has that same ability. You know, Day'Ron Sharpe is kind of a diamond-in-the-rough player, I think. Yeah, he went 29th in the 2021 first NBA draft. He's a first-round pick, 29th overall. He's been in the NBA for 3 years, and yeah, a lot of it has been like either riddled with injury or just not a lot of play time. But I think he's a bit better than Robert Williams. You know, like Robert Williams is a guy who's been injured a lot. That was part of the reason Boston traded him. But Day'Ron Sharpe provides that while also being only 23 years old. So, yeah, it kind of, it's like he is I don't know, like he's still a young guy, but he's seasoned enough where I think he could make a significant impact on our team. I feel like there was something else I wanted to show, but I can't think of what that is at the moment. But oh yeah, I kind of wanted to look at his game log for this year. Like, what did he do against the Pacers? Because I do know he played against us. Indiana. Yeah, he shot 3 of 6 on the field. Like, this guy had 7 points and 6 rebounds, 1 assist and 1 steal. He was a plus 22 against us. Yeah, he even made a three-point shot. Like, he's even testing out the three-point shot. Like, they actually have him shooting threes, which is pretty crazy. He made 1 three-point shot. So, yeah, 7.6 boards in how many minutes? 16 minutes of play. That's not bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like, those are decent stats for a guy who only played 16 minutes. So I like Day'Ron Sharpe. He did get 1 steal and 1 assist. But it was when I watched that game, it was him actually being able to step out and guard guys off the screen and roll and like be the switch defender and still be able to stick with a guard. Like, I was like, yo, if Day'Ron Sharpe can do all of that, like, the dude is a really, really good player. Like, I think Day'Ron Sharpe is a bigger part of this trade than even Dorian Finney-Smith is. Because that was a big issue with our team, right? We need a guy that can rebound, a guy that can defend, a guy that is not afraid to bang down low. Day'Ron Sharpe is that. And honestly, Isaiah Jackson, I think Day'Ron Sharpe's ceiling is a lot higher than Isaiah Jackson's ceiling, and I also think Day'Ron Sharpe's floor is a lot higher than Isaiah Jackson's floor. And I think if you're offering Obi Toppin for Dorian, even if you got to send these guys a second-round pick, fuck it, send them the second-round pick. Just, this is a trade that I think the Pacers should do, and it's a trade that I think could really, really help the team a lot. You know, ever since Buddy Hield got traded also, we've really been missing some three-point shooting. Ben Shepherd's injured too at the moment, which hurts a lot for the three-point shooting. Adding Dorian Finney-Smith, I think, is just a solid player, and Day'Ron Sharpe's a guy with a lot of future upside. So that's why I like this so much, and I don't know. Just tell me what you guys think about this down below in the comment section below. A like helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more on the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.